What's up? What's up, everyone? You are listening to a podcast that represents the back-to-back national champions. The first time in the college football playoff era. The Georgia Bulldogs have done it back-to-back. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. It's still soaking in. The game was just such a beatdown that it's not really sunk in what's happened yet. But then when I log on to Twitter and I see the Bama and I see the Tennessee and I see the Florida and Auburn fans and just constant denial, that's all the validation I need. So, listen, we got a big-time show coming at you tonight. We have no notes, no script, nothing. It's just going to be three guys and everybody in the chat just absolutely living it up, talking about how great it is to be fans of the national champions. You are also going to get, for the next 1 minute and 28 seconds, our live reaction of the Bulldogs playing the fake Bulldogs in basketball. We're up 5. So if you hear some moans or you hear some quick oohs, that's just us reacting to the basketball game. So hopefully we can pull this one out. But listen, Natty Chance, let's celebrate, boys. Roll it.
10, 12, he's running over people. Oh, you hurt the walkers. We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
Defense, 40, 30, they won't catch him. Go, Swift, into the end zone. Touchdown! The freshman just ran it back to Philadelphia. Throws near sideline, and it's intercepted. Intercepted, Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes, 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, near sideline. Breaks the tackle, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, 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 Georgia.
I know I'm asking a lot, you guys, but hunker it down one more time.
Well, we got to update the B-roll, guys.
Yeah, I know we do.
There's some more stuff to add to that one now.
Yeah.
Well, let's just kick this off. How does it feel? Just raw emotion. How does it feel?
I will say, I don't want to sound like it ain't great. It wasn't as great as the last one, but it was pretty great. It wasn't as great as the last.
It's always impossible to beat that first one, especially just the way it happened. But, dude, this one felt pretty damn good. It felt pretty good.
It's not.
It felt good to not just sweat the game too. I kind of stopped paying attention like the middle of the third quarter, pretty much. I was out just already celebrating.
Listen, we got the classic in Ohio State, and then we needed this one. We needed just a good sit back and show how dominant we were, and we got it. Listen, last year was great, and everybody was salty, but you still had they're just a one hit. They can never do it again. Everybody's lighting in a bottle, all this stuff. And then to roll back and do it again, I can't imagine how helpless these people are feeling.
It'll be another 40 years.
Actually, I can imagine it because I read it daily on Twitter right now. That they're hurting. We're going to get into all of them. We're going to take a shot at
dude, I'm coming for throats tonight.
Because they deserve it. They're just talking aimlessly with nobody checking them. We'll be the ones to check them for you. Don't worry. But listen, let's talk. Before we get all into that, let's talk Dogs. Let's talk all things Dogs. What this means. Key points of the game, all that stuff. I don't even want to talk anything about next year, really. Just straight celebrate the 2022 Georgia Bulldogs. Griff, take a bow. Take a bow. Because in that era where everyone's saying, all Georgia fans, they want to turn on Stet, and then now they act like they're his biggest fan. Griffin stood 10 toes in the paint, and he put Stet as number 1 quarterback returning in college football this year. Griff?
He's that dog. He's that dog. He's the greatest Georgia Bulldog ever. And if you have any other thing to say about him other than that, I don't want to talk to you as a Georgia fan. I don't want to speak to you. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
8 total touchdowns in national championship games.
Unbelievable.
Six the other night. And, dude.
He could have had 13 if he wanted.
They scored 65. Like, they started running Madden plays in the second half. Like, it was legitimately just like, all right, well, let's empty the playbook, I guess. And Carson Beck comes in there. He's spinning it a little bit. Branson Robinson's ripping off like 10-yard carries.
The way that Stet was able to play up in the biggest games of his career, that's what defines your legacy. That's what people talk about all the time for quarterbacks. So, how do they do in the playoffs? If you're talking about NFL, how do they do in their biggest games? They win the championship. Like, nobody's going to remember the regular season at this point of what Stetson's numbers were, this, that, and another. You're going to remember the 4 playoff games that he had where he won the MVP trophy of all 4. And he put on an absolute show. There was not a single one where he was bad. There's probably, 3 quarters total that he was not very good in the entirety of. There was a little bit there in the middle of the Bama game. And he was never awful in that game. It was just kind of really good defense against really good defense. The Ohio State game, there was a portion of it, but then he was the best player on the field in the fourth quarter for both of those. And then in Michigan and TCU, he was just the best. I mean, he was the best player on the field from snap one. I don't think he made a bad throw the entire time. What a way to go out. Hats off to the mailman.
Yeah, and somebody else, too, that was getting a lot of criticism that I wanted to shout out was Keely Ringo because, I mean, the secondary just absolutely swarmed TCU. They've never had a shot. They had one busted coverage, so this actually might have been a shutout, which is even crazier.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnson, 3 yards. You know, elite wide receivers get us, man. Elite wide receivers get us. You have to hurt them. We have to hurt them. We have to hurt them.
Yeah, like from snap one, Max Duggan did not look comfortable at all. He looked like he was, you know, kind of like looking like Stetson in the middle of the Ohio State game. He was kind of double clutching. He was looking around. He missed through that first ball. And a lot of people are like, well, it's because the pressure we put on him. Yeah, but a lot of those were coverage sacks. Like there was a lot of those that were straight coverage sacks. And what that means is that he had nowhere to throw the ball. He had to hold it for longer than he needed to. And the pass rush got there. The secondary played lights out. Javon Bullard read that play like a book, the deep ball to Quentin Johnson. As soon as the ball was snapped, he bailed. He knew that if he got lined up against Quentin Johnson, they were going to try to run right by him. He was tired of seeing that. He was tired of Marvin Harrison doing that to him. He's like, screw this. I'm not getting beat over the top by this guy. Got the interception. Like, it was just – they played just an awesome, awesome game. And what do you think they knew going into this game it was going to be like this?
I don't. I think TCU still had that attitude where they were like, we're not
I'm talking us. I'm talking to Georgia players.
I think Georgia knew.
Yeah, then yes.
I mean, did you hear Kirby's pregame speech? I mean –
yeah,
they knew what was going to happen.
Well, that wasn't. This might hurt some folks. That was not the pregame speech at this game.
That's
it's not confirmed.
Oh yeah,
it's not.
I thought you were talking about the aggression when the sideline.
No, when he said tonight we're going to hunt, I was like, well, boys, pack it in. This one's going to be a long one for the Horned Frogs. Like that's when you knew. And I was listening to Pate earlier today, and he had one of the funniest quotes. He said when he was walking around on the field that coaches get a little bit more loose with what they say. And he said he heard from 2 or 3 people, word for word, big people move small people. That's what he heard before the game from Georgia staffers. So I think they knew. And listen, it's no disrespect to TCU. They're a good team, regardless of what people on Twitter are saying. They're a good team. This was the worst matchup possible for them. Like the worst matchup possible.
And just the worst timing possible. We come off a game where we look like beatable and we look like, you know, they have a chance. Like, they have an offense that's high profile and stuff. And then we just come out there and show, you know, we are who we are. And we're the best team in college football. And we run college football now. There's a new top dog.
I already thought that line was ratty because how much of the public was going to be on TCU. But when I woke up on Monday morning and I saw that Georgia had 20% of the bets and almost 60% of the money, I said, yeah, it's going to get ugly. And that's kind of when my nerves started to go away a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the game, I mean, obviously Georgia was in control this entire game. I think it was really over whenever they got the ball back with like 20 seconds left in the half and hit AD on a one-handed touchdown.
Yeah.
Catch. These
that was toast, man.
It's over.
I really did thought so we stop them 3 and out in the first drive. It looked dominant. And then we get the ball and just cut through them like a hot knife through butter. And then we get the fumble and I'm like, oh, TCU's about to unravel. And then they stop us to hold us to a field goal and then score a touchdown. I'm like, all right, here they are. Here's TCU. This is what they do. Like it feels like we were absolutely dominating. We're up 3 points.
Rock fight.
And then we got the ball back. We ran like 2. We got a first. I think that drive, it was our 3rd drive. I think we got a first down in the first 3 plays. Just first down. And then we launched the bomb to Ladd. And I was like,
yeah, that was the Ladd. Yeah.
I was like, well,
okay.
They can't stop us.
Ladd, what happened? Dude. I thought he was like hobbled. He looked like the most elite wide receiver on the field.
Yeah, he did. And literally, like, he looked like he was in constant pain against Ohio State. Like, he was a decoy for the entirety of the game, except for the 2-point conversion. And then he comes out and he's our go-to guy. It was unbelievable. He was running by dudes. The first ball he snatched out of just thin air. Like, he goes up, sets on the run to the right, throws a dart. Ladd just pulls it out of the sky. And I was like, was that Ladd? Sure enough, was. I mean, yeah, it was impressive.
I want to go over this real quick. I've got some numbers for y'all because it's really ridiculous when you talk about this being a national championship game. Georgia was 11 yards short of 600. They ran for 250, threw for 335. 8.2 yards per play. TCU had 188 total yards, 3.7 yards per play. They went 2 for 11 on third downs, 0 for 2 on fourth downs. Georgia went 9 for 13 on third downs. That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Guys, we had as many touchdowns as they had first downs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that was just complete and utter domination. Like, this game will be talked about forever because of how one-sided it was. I mean, there will never be another national championship that is one-sided as this one. And if there is, then that's going to be a tough game to watch.
I remember seeing I can't remember who posted it, but somebody said they were like, it's crazy how quickly people have turned from, oh, we want parity, we want different teams in the playoffs to, oh, this is BS, Alabama should be in. This game sucks. Like,
yeah, like everybody wants other teams to be in, and then now they're praising for Bama to get in because they thought they would have given us a better game. I hate to break it to Bama fans. I hate to break their freaking insecure little hearts, but we would have whooped your ass on Monday night too. Nobody was beating us on Monday night, and nobody was coming within 20 points of us on Monday night.
That was ugly. I think the Indianapolis Colts would have needed to be concerned tomorrow night. Or Monday night.
Yeah. And Griffin with a quick shot at Bama fans. I promise we're going to get to them because I've got a lot to say about that too. What a response from the defense. And it's one of those things where I just know with the Kirby Smart coach team and some other teams, or just the teams we've had in the past, whenever everyone is telling you one thing, oh, the defense is beatable, the secondary, you can get on them. This, that, and another, there's some weaknesses there. They respond. They respond so hard. Like the Tennessee, all you heard all week was it's going to be a shootout. Stetson better put on his big boy britches and be ready for a shootout. And then the defense like, nah, we don't do shootouts here.
See, the thing was, Stetson was ready for a shootout in that game. He was going down the field every drive.
He was ready.
Slicing through butter.
He was ready. The greatest offense of all time was not ready.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker was not ready. And Jalen Hyatt.
So
let me tell you, when I tell you, Monken, he emptied the clip. I think he had a couple more plays than he thought he was going to need. Those boys were running everything. You couldn't stop them no matter what they run. They could have ran a double reverse fake, have the receiver who gets the fake punt it down the field, and they'd have ran down and covered it or something. They could not be stopped on anything.
Big shout out to the Hoop Dogs. They just pulled off the victory against Mississippi State.
Yeah,
it was
big
12-3.
It's time to do.
Let's
Mike
freaking
White.
go. We've already doubled our SEC wins from last year. We've already went past our total win total.
Actual
from last
wins.
Year.
No, it's double. We had 12, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or we had 6. Sorry.
Yeah, we had 6. Yeah, we've doubled both.
Doubled
both.
it.
Right?
And then we doubled the SEC win total tonight, 3 games in, and we have 2 more winnable games coming up. Big time win from them. Let's freaking go. I'm hyped up. I'm hyped. That game was a little bit disgusting, but it was awesome.
Gotta win ugly sometimes.
Gotta win ugly. Gotta be able to win.
And that's the under 2. Under was never in doubt.
Never. All right. Well, listen, Brock Bowers, I put y'all. I hope y'all took his over from the first play on. Like it was just he was going to be the guy. You can't stop him. You cannot stop him. If we want to get him the ball, we're going to get him the ball. And he just put on a show.
Especially
realistically, Jake, you're more of a draft guy than I am. Where does he go in this year's draft if he comes out?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I said he would have been a first-round pick after his freshman year.
No, I think
last year.
Sure.
I said this guy could be playing on Sundays right now. Like usually with guys like that are so young, you're like, oh, his body, like he would just get killed. Those are grown men. You don't have to worry about that with Brock. If Brock went out in the draft, I think he would be a top 7 pick.
I
easily.
agree. I 100%. I think he would be. There's a realistic chance he's the first offensive skill guy taken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a realistic shot. All right,
he's a weapon.
This is the good point right here. I want to talk about this from Connor. David Pollock staring Saban in the face, saying the Dogs have taken over college football. Listen, there's a group of you out there, and y'all are just gonna hate. Like I get it, you're just gonna hate. Y'all think David Pollock somehow is not a dog because he doesn't pick us every single game that he's ever called. That guy bleeds red and black. I don't ever want to hear another bad thing about David Pollock not being a Georgia guy after he did this. Guys, he looked Saban directly in the face, sitting 2 feet from him, and said these guys have officially taken over college football. And that's not just like a general term. If you have to take something from someone, that was the someone. He took it from him, and Pollock straight up reassured him to his face, hey, we took it from you. And I hear all these people saying, "Oh, Pete," and then in the comments it's like, "Oh, he shouldn't have done that." Now Saban's going to be. I'm not scared of Nick Saban anymore. I don't care. I'm not scared of him. He's no longer the bully. I'm not scared. I don't care what he's got. I do not care. I trust Kirby Smart and the staff and Todd Monken and Will Muschamp and Glenn Schumann and whoever is returning in the red and black because that culture has taken over. We are officially at the top of college football.
Look, all I'm going to say, too, is, there's 2 teams in recent college football that have gone back-to-back national championships. Alabama, 2011-2012, Georgia, 2021-2022. There's one guy that was on both of those coaching staffs. I mean, that
I saw it earlier
was on both of those coaching staffs.
Scott Cochran got his 8th ring.
8th ring, wow.
Yeah.
Scott Cochran, I guess, was on both of those teams too. I guess he was on those Alabama teams. I don't really know for sure.
Yeah, I would assume so. I assume he was on both. I guess he would have had to have been. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it is that you look at what Georgia's losing this year. Yeah, I mean, they're losing Stetson, they're losing Keeley. Everybody's going to be losing somebody. But I said it at the beginning of this year, and I caught a little flack for it when I said, "Are we sure that this Georgia team is not better than last year?" And I feel like we could be saying that about Game 3 or Game 4 next year too.
Yeah, I mean, dude, last year's team versus this year's team would be a hell of a game. That would be a hell of a football game.
It would be. And I see how everyone's saying the 2021 team was better than this year's team. And my dog's going insane. Would you have?
It's because the dog's
your dog?
Yeah.
That's your dog now?
I mean, he lives with me. Yeah. I'm not just 100% sure that's true. But like you said, Griff, it'd be an awesome game.
Yeah, I think so. I don't feel the need to pit those two against each other. I don't have some type of inferiority complex about it. It doesn't really bother me.
Kenzie, can we control Flynn for a minute?
Walt Jr.
I got people in the live chat asking whose dog's going crazy. Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know who's better. I honestly don't. I don't know where this team stacks up. I haven't had time or cared to evaluate.
That is something that drives me crazy too. I don't care about 2019 LSU. I don't care about any of these other teams. I don't care. Could not care. Is this team better than 2019 LSU? I'm not even going to think about it. I really don't care at all.
I don't care at all. And the only people saying that are LSU fans. And the only people claiming 2020 Bama is better than them is Bama fans, just because they want to stay relevant. And that's the thing that is so great about this. Is this another year where they can't be relevant? No one cares about them. And this is the first year that Bama has underachieved in a long time, like truly underachieved. Last year, even when they lost, it was like, well, they kind of overachieved. It's a young team. It's one of Saban's best coaching jobs. And then they lose to Deshaun Watson. It's like, wow, Deshaun Watson, he's just one of the best college football players ever. Like you just tip your cap. This year, there's no excuses. They underachieved, and they can't handle it. This fan base cannot handle being told they were not good. And that's
all they tried to do during the game was talk about themselves. They can't handle it. They haven't been in this position in over 15 years, and it's literally eating them from the inside out. They hate it. They do not want to be. They can't handle being told they're not good enough or they're not number one or being just pat on the back constantly telling them, hey, buddy, you're going to be okay. It's going to be good. You're all right. You'll be back next year. No, you won't. You're toast.
You were 4th place in the SEC this year.
Toast.
You were 4th place.
I think
you know what, Zachary? This is a good freaking point right here. UGA's undefeated since BSB pod started up. That's
very true.
Yet to lose. Yet to lose.
And we've already doubled our wins last year from basketball, so it's true.
I guess we got to keep doing this thing. I mean, people better start listening, man, because
we really haven't had to come on. That's something too, though, is we have not had to come on here with our hat in our hands after a loss, after we've been talking smack. It is going to happen one day. I don't know when. I hope it's a long
that
time.
Day is long
I hope it's to somebody on the West Coast.
I hope we're like 30-something and 0 before we have to worry about the next one.
Imagine. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about next year, but
imagine if we'd had to come back here after the Tennessee game. If we'd had to come back on here after the Tennessee game with a loss, that would have hurt.
There was just no chance of that. Those guys were freaking frauds and we're a million times better than them. So, I mean, they can.
Well, we did have to come after the Bama. Well, wait, no, they weren't. They didn't earn the chance to play us this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Forgot about that.
That's right. They had to actually win. Beat like the teams on their side of the conference.
So we've never had to really go toe to toe with Bama fans yet. Like truly go toe to toe with them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun
because they just can't win. Like we just don't lose now, and they can't win the games. That are
one of the things that I pointed out on Twitter that really stuck with me out of this game too is like you talk about pitching a 5-star recruit. We're talking about Dylan Raiola and potentially getting this kid on campus and all these other guys. Georgia's freshman just outscored the other team in the national championship 21-0. They're freshmen, they're backups. Just Savon Clark was getting carries, man. Like Savon Clark was out there toting that thing. That's crazy.
It was awesome.
No disrespect to Savon. I'm just saying he's like 6th on the depth chart or 5th or 6th on the depth chart.
The national championship we're talking about. The national championship.
Well, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, what do you do in this situation? You can't pull these guys and let up. I mean, they worked all year to be in this position to play in this game, and you're gonna make them go sit on the bench and watch the backups play. No, bro, they got you here. You gotta let them ball. There's no letting up in that game. I saw a freaking Tennessee fan trying to compare the Missouri game where they ran the score up to this game. I was like, guys, come on.
Oh, you know what game is comparable?
Game in freaking November, dude.
You know what game is comparable though? The South Carolina game, because South Carolina put 63 points on them. That's pretty close.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
That's true. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Disgusting. Anybody else stand out in this game? Let's just talk about all the seniors real quick. All the guys we're not going to see again. Chris Smith coming downhill, making some plays. What a dog he was, man! And he stepped up. What was his first game when LeCount got hurt with the motorcycle and he stepped in? And I was like, hey, this guy, he's playing pretty good, honestly. I miss LeCount, but this guy's really good. And then last year, he just took his game to a whole new level. He came in the safety position is such a question mark. We have a safety and a star we got to replace. Who is it going to be? We know Chris Smith played last year, but is he really the guy? And then it was quickly answered with a pick 6 from Clemson. And then since then, he's just been all in on being one of the best players in the country. I think he's a lot for a day 2 pick. And we'll see what he does at the combine. He might slide in at bottom half of day 1. I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up. So one of my buddies who does draft stuff, we were talking about this class, and he was like, hey, you got any UGA guys I should watch on Monday? And I was like, Christopher Smith. He's like, really? And I was like, yes. I was like, this safety draft is really not that good. I was like, that guy is the alpha dog of that defense. I was like, people can't talk enough about how high character he is. Now watch him play. Somebody's going to really like him. I don't think he'll be a first-round pick, but I don't think it's out of the question that he goes on day 2 at all.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a day 2 guy. Nolan Smith, just an ultimate dog from the day he stepped on campus. He was just the vocal guy, the guy that everybody knew. He just seemed like a great guy to be around. Shout out Nolan Smith for just constantly still continuing to be a leader. When he got hurt, he could have turned it in, just went straight rehab, started planning for the combine. And I'm sure he's doing all those things, but he was always
with that team all the time.
Front of the sidelines. He was pumping up the crowd at the beginning of the Ohio State game. I'm so glad that he got the standing ovation along with everybody else. Those curtain calls were one of the best things I've ever seen from Georgia football. Honestly, it was one of the coolest moments. When we pulled Stetson off, it was that's sick. And then it's we got more guys too. And here comes the defense walking off the field. Guys that Kirby and Stet obviously have a great relationship because they've stuck by each other the whole time. But Kirby and that defense have even a deeper bond. Those are his guys. And so to be able to stop and call them off the field, who all was it? Chris, Keeley, Jalen. They threw Nolan out there. Am I missing somebody?
No, I think that's
Bobby Beal.
Really, Bobby Beal too.
Yeah, those guys, man. He just loves those dudes. So big shout out to those guys. They go down as 2-time national champions, the winningest class in Georgia history. Shout out to those dudes. Big time.
Yeah. Another guy that we haven't talked about yet, and he played his butt off, Darnell Washington. We also thought, dude, he's just a freak. He's just
that I was something different.
Man, let me tell you what. I don't know who that poor defensive back was. He was probably That guy's probably not my size. He's probably obviously in way better shape than I am, but I'm probably a good 6'6'1". That guy was probably about 5'8", like 160. Darnell took him for a ride, maybe 25 yards. And that guy, he couldn't even move his arms. He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he really, really did. Darnell Washington, big time shout out. Like I'm telling you, those training room these days have some stuff you've never heard of, and those people will be out there playing. He didn't even look slow. Like he was perfectly fine. And that's a big, big dude rolling his ankle. That ain't really easily healed. That's a lot of weight stepping on that thing every other step. Big time shout out for him because we needed him bad. He makes our offense click. And he could have left when Bowers came and was getting all the love and he was catching all the passes. But that's the dude that, like, you don't hear this very often. He bought into blocking. He bought into doing the dirty work. And last year he was gimpy. Like everybody expected him to have the blow up year last year because he had pretty good as a freshman. We started really feeding him at the end of the year. He's coming back healthy offseason. Then he rolls his ankle like at the very end of fall practice. Was out the first 4 games. Comes back still at 100%, but still just blocking his tail off. This year they fed him the rock. They rewarded him, and he showed what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's going to be an awesome pro. Whatever team is going to get him is going to love him because he can do so many different things. He's going to change an offense overnight. Special player. Shout out Darnell.
I think it would be really funny. I actually don't think they have a first-round pick, which sucks. But could you imagine if he just went to like the 49ers and he was in Shanahan's offense with Kittle? Those two just rolling people up.
You got George Kittle on one side and Darnell Washington on the other.
That would be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. And Kenny Mack. We didn't talk about Kenny Mack, man. We started the hype train, the Kenny Mack hype train. We're gonna miss him very much. We believed in him since day one. We knew he could be a lead back. Is this the quietest 1,300 all-purpose yard season you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Not for me because I literally get butterflies every time he touches the ball because I've loved that guy since he got to campus. But yeah, from the outside looking in, it really is because he took on because forever Georgia's been such a 2-back system. For the last few years, we've had really, really good backs, but the numbers just aren't always eye-popping because it's so spread around. Kenny was as close to a primary back as we've had in a while because he had to take on, like we talked about at the beginning of the year, he was taking on the full load of being the receiving back. And we saw Dejon kind of transition to that at the end of the year of we're feeding the ball to Dejon out of the backfield a little more. We're getting him ready for next year because we're going to need that bad. That's a staple of Todd Monken's offense. But Kenny's special, and he took on the brunt of it for most of the year. We let him run between the tackles midway through the year, and he started showing that he could really do that too. All around back, all around guy. I think he's going to be 7 to 10 year pro. I think he can do it all. And he was great for Georgia. He waited his turn. He was always playing, but he was never the guy. This year he was the guy. And he rushed for more than Zamir, and he caught for more than James Cook, 2 really, really good players. So Kenny McIntosh, you the man. Hot train has officially entered its final station.
You know who I think the best pro out of this whole group is going to be, though? It's going to be Broderick Jones. He had an incredible game.
Monster.
Tyler Horton, maybe, I don't know, on TCU. He had 4 sacks and a forced fumble against Michigan, and Broderick Jones didn't even allow pressure. Broderick Jones had that side of the line absolutely locked down. He's probably going to be the first offensive tackle off the board. Might be a top 5 pick. Could just like Andrew Thomas, and I'm happy for him. Broderick's been awesome. Cedric Van Pran was awesome. Warren McClendon was awesome. All 3 of those guys should be gone before the end of round 3 on the NFL draft. So I'm happy those guys are going to go get their money.
No doubt. Coming into the year, we talked about how big of a strength our offensive line was going to be. And they were. Stat got sacked 9 times this year, guys. 9 times. Single digits.
In 15 games. 15.
And next year it's going to be a question mark, but that is a good thing because that means that we are having to replace really, really good players. And I trust the staff that can do it. But some of these guys are going to be really tough to replace. Thank the Lord Marius Mims came back because that dude's playing like an NFL pro right now. But Broderick, Warren, SVP, all those dudes like Jake mentioned, big time year from them. We do not go 15-0 without the way that they played. They found their identity in the fourth quarter of that Missouri game, and they absolutely ran with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely ran with it.
Yeah.
I mean, boys, think about it. Let's just take it in for a second. Our whole lives, we watched Georgia not knowing if we'd ever reach, the pinnacle of college football. And then all of a sudden last year we do it. And then this year we come back around and do it again for a second year in a row.
Special.
I mean, it's crazy stuff. This is the definition of what it means when you say it's great to be a Georgia Bulldog, because it is. There is no fan base that I would rather be a part of than the Georgia Bulldogs. It's always been like that for me, but right now it's just so much more special.
It's just crazy being here too, man. Like I went to class today and just saw on Tuesday, just saw the aftermath of all the carnage, and I was out there on Monday night. I wasn't feeling too well. If you saw any photos of me, I wasn't doing very well, but I was out there, and it was just, there's nothing like it, man. Like this is so localized to one very singular place too. Like this huge celebration. Like it's not like the Falcons won the Super Bowl and everybody in Atlanta's going crazy. We know that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I'd say.
But
flowers, Cole.
Thank you, JC.
Hey, I took it. I took the alternate line plus 108 in a parlay with Kenny Mack anytime touchdown.
No, it was Kendall.
Okay, yeah, no, Kendall anytime touchdown. That's what I meant. And then Brock Bowers anytime touchdown, and Stet to have at least one passing touchdown.
My final,
if I would have done like Stet to have at least 3 passing touchdowns, imagine what that parlay would have been.
Let me tell you, I took it straight to the bank because I take it straight to the bank every time Georgia plays a playoff game. It's A.D. Mitchell anytime touchdown score.
Oh, dude, I mean he's 4.
He has scored a touchdown. 4, all 4.
Yeah,
There's some pretty good odds on it too. It was like plus like 110 or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a guy that we hit. I think we hit on pretty much all the seniors, or just not even seniors, people who aren't coming back. And there's one guy we say it's fitting that we saved him till last. His big number 88 is a bad dude. He's a bad dude.
Bad dude.
I saw a lot of people just talking just out of their minds after the Ohio State game. Like, oh, where was Jalen Carter? He was winded. Yeah, he's a human being. Like that. Would you watch their offense going up and down the field against us? That you get winded. It don't matter how good
weighs
shape
320 pounds.
You're going to get winded if you continually are going one-on-one with some of the strongest people on earth, trying to prevent you from getting one way. Go wrestle your brother. Go wrestle your dad. Whoever you want to wrestle. I bet you can't last 30 seconds. Like just try to do that and now imagine doing that while you're trying to rush the passer in an offense that's going right down the field against us. Just guys. Just talking out of your minds.
And you're getting held, but we won't talk about that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, James just said that. Yeah,
James
he said that. Yeah, ain't getting held.
Right. He just completely obliterated TCU's offense. Like they couldn't do anything.
I just remember
Bear Alexander had 2 sacks, and Jalen Carter should be credited for both of them. When Bear made the sack, Jalen had 3 guys. That's how good he's too good. He's going to be it. I can't wait to see him. Like he's Jeffrey Simmons-esque in the NFL.
Dude, if he goes to the Bears, that low key might be a jersey cop. That would be a nasty jersey.
I don't know, man. I just don't remember anything about this game. Like I know I was drinking a lot. Let's be honest. I just don't. It was so. Like it was just all happening, and I just remember being happy, and like I think I was just talking to everybody around me and stuff, and freaking out. And like it wasn't like Bama last year where I'm like laser focused on every single play because this is like cutthroat. Like, and I just don't even remember a lot of the stuff that happened. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again.
We can pretty much mention anyone on the team, and there's something good to say about them because there's nothing went wrong. We had the one busting coverage, and that was it. Nothing went wrong offensively. Like. Everything worked. It had to be so fun to be Todd Monken on Saturday night.
He's just
like any play he looks at on the sheet, he's like, I can call this right now and it's going to work. So I might as well just mix and match what I think is going to be the most fun.
You think he closed it? You think he closed his eyes once and picked one? I would.
Yeah, or just chuckled after he called it in. Like, could you see him doing that? Just like calling something in and just sitting back, looking over, kind of tapping.
Hey, watch
somebody.
This real quick.
Used to be Buster sitting beside him. I don't know if Buster Faulkner would Buster Faulkner last the rest of the year, or did he?
I assume he would have, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can just see it looking over tackle and being like, yeah, like it's coming right here. And then they just throw it. Just a simple bubble screen to Ladd that works every single time. The screen game is ridiculously good. And I think that's one area we're going to see go down next year simply because Darnell Washington did so much for us in that aspect.
Yeah.
But who knows? Todd Monken's still a wizard, and we're going to have freak athletes. So Todd Monken deserves his flowers too. Like, you talk about a guy who changed the program. That dude has changed the program. And what a perfect hire from Kirby. He went out. That was the only knock on Kirby Smart through the first 5 years of him as a coach, or 4 years, whatever it was. He just hasn't hit the right offensive coordinator. Everybody's like, oh, well, Kirby, his offensive identity, blah, blah, blah. He's a defensive coach, guys. He's going to coach defense. He needed an OC to take over the offense. And then they run I think the most underrated aspect of it is they work so well together. Kirby and Todd Monken play such complementary football with each other, and Todd Monken was willing to play towards what Kirby wanted. Like, there's a time to be explosive. You notice anytime we get a turnover, we're going to the end zone. Like, that's the time to go for their throat. We're not like a Tennessee or Ohio State where we're just trying to score every 3 plays. That taxes your defense. You have to play complementary football. They do it so well together, and it seems like they get along so great in how they do it. And it's just the perfect fit, and I hope he stays for as long as Kirby stays.
This is an interesting point. I just said I don't remember anything about a game, but I do remember this play very vividly. This is when I knew TCU's defense was in some real trouble. I think it was still a 1-score game, maybe a 2-score game at this point. That 3rd and 10 when Stet hit that spin move on that pass rusher.
That was nasty.
Oh, that was disgusting. And just
that
3rd and 10.
All their DBs backs were like they were doing everything they could to keep up with those receivers. Stet gets the first down easy. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a long day for these boys.
And, we gave the offensive line some flowers for Stet not getting sacked a bunch, but Stet had a part to play in that as well, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's so elusive, and he just gets out of stuff like that. And we really haven't talked about Stet that much while we've been on here. I guess I called him to go earlier, but, dude, going out the way he did, that's a storybook of an ending, that you can possibly – you can't write a better story than that. It's unbelievable. And there's still people who act like he's not good. It's unreal.
They just don't understand football. And a lot of people too have this weird fixation with the NFL. They're like, oh, he's not good. He's never going to be good in the NFL. And I'm like,
cares?
We're not talking about the NFL. We're not
don't care.
This isn't the NFL.
Honestly, but
and I don't want to hear it, because if guys like Brock Purdy can go out there and get the 1 seed, Stetson Bennett is 4 times better than Brock Purdy. Just straight, you just compare 2 guys as quarterbacks, take them to a camp or something. Stet's going to be the guy who sticks out more than Brock Purdy.
Yeah, so honestly,
it all depends. The NFL completely depends on the system you go into, and does it fit you? If Stetson goes and plays for Shanahan, he's going to be good. If he goes and plays for Andy Reid, he's going to be good. If he goes and plays for Adam Gase, he's probably not going to be good. That's just how the NFL works. And can Stet find a role in the NFL that could really fit him? Yeah, he can make every throw on the field. So that argument, I'll read it and I'm like, I don't know if I should be mad at this or not, because I feel no emotional tie towards this statement at all.
Yeah, I know. And I think the story of this year too, on top of Stetson, is I tweeted this out too. Georgia beat 7. That's almost half. They beat 7 top 25 teams by an average margin of 30 points per game. When we played somebody in the top 25, we usually went out there and kicked their teeth in. That's just so
our schedule
unusual.
was weak, though. Our schedule was so weak.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, we only played half of our
We didn't play
games against top
Bama. We didn't play
25
Bama. We played 2 teams that beat Bama, but we didn't play Bama.
I can't wait to hear that all offseason again. I'm just going to gloat in it, because it's just so ironic that Tennessee fans say it. That's the one that gets me the most. When Tennessee and Florida fans say it, we've been through this. We ain't got to keep harping on it.
You gotta call somebody else to come do your dirty work. You got that ass thing. You got that ass thing, and now you got to call somebody else. Why does this beat us?
It tells the oldest time. That's what I said. Florida fans had no idea what to do this year in December, because they're usually pulling their Alabama stuff out of the basement. That's usually their time to turn into Alabama fans, is after the last game of the regular season. They start going to get it.
SEC.
They're like, wait, Alabama's not playing Georgia this year? No, they're not. And they're not getting LSU stuff. So they had no idea what to do. They turned into the biggest Ohio State and TCU fans they could, which I don't blame them.
That was what I was saying online too, is I was like, I don't even blame y'all. I don't care who you pull for. Don't come in my mission and say, well, Gator fan here. I'm cheering for Ohio State. I don't care. I literally don't want you to cheer for us. I hate
Thank
you.
you. You give us
I don't
another
want you to cheer
chance
for
to
us.
beat your ass.
Literally, I
beat
get
you
to rub it in
twice.
That was what I said. That when I tweeted that out, I was like, all y'all were on here begging. I saw Georgia Tech fans making edits. It was like a Horned Frog, like Georgia Tech, like hybrid rat thing. Begging. I saw Auburn fans making purple, orange, and blue TCU logos. Now you got no pride, and you just watched us win 65-7, and now you got to listen to me. So that's tough.
I mean, they've got to spend another full offseason listening to us talk about how we went 15-0, and there's nothing they could do about it.
See, we got one in here already. He's so mad.
Yeah.
I actually just graduated.
Y'all need to get your life together and finish school and bye. They're already pissed off. That sucks.
Just graduated, Craig.
That sucks. That sucks.
Mad. You are livid in our comments because we are celebrating a championship.
You're in here hate watching us.
Do you know how happy that makes me that you were in here sobbing that we are celebrating a championship?
One of my buddies I was working out with, his friend is a Tennessee fan, texted him, which before I see him tell this story, I can't go anywhere around home right now without some Tennessee fan, like seeing a Tennessee fan somewhere and saying, dude, I had to unfollow your page on Twitter. They're the worst. I'm like, number one, you should never been following us in the first place if you're a Tennessee fan. I was like, number two, that's all the validation I need. Thank you. But he texted, my buddy showed me a Snapchat, and he didn't know I was with him or anything. And he'd sent him a picture it was one of our tweets following the game on Monday, and he said, Common Baxter Street L. And I was like, dude, we are literally just – this is what I wanted, to have a Twitter page and just harp on the point even more.
I got my slides
that worked.
propped up in their heads. Spacious in there.
I mean, Common L, bro. All we get is dubs. I mean, we freaking started this podcast to go 15-0. I mean, bro, you're just living in tears, and I'm just scooping them up and just.
They made a commemorative book for midway through the season, man. That is so funny to me.
That's true. From the DGD podcast, they said they should keep focusing on Rashada in reference to Florida fans. Yeah, I can't wait to see him play for Florida in a few years. I think he's going to be really, really good. Yeah. So let's hope. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong there. Like, he signed in the national letter of intent. Like, he has to go there, and I'm sure everything's going to work out. Like, he's going to be a great player. Shout out Florida.
Oh man,
let's talk big picture.
Bro, this guy.
just leave him alone.
I'm not reading that essay. He says he wants to fight, but I'm not reading your essay. You are so mad, dude. That is pretty funny. Like, you are typing paragraphs. Did you have someone like peer review that? Nice essay.
It's awesome, man. This is so good. We're so in his head that he's on here hate watching.
He's slobbering on his keyboard.
They said Georgia won the national championship, but listen, they shouldn't have even been there. They didn't have it either.
Yeah, great stuff. Let's talk big picture stuff, like what this means moving forward. And it solidifies Kirby Smart as the best coach in college football currently. Like, that is what it solidifies as. And listen, Nick Saban is still the greatest college football coach of all time, and it's going to take a lot to take that away from him. It may not be possible, from what he did. But if we're talking building a program right now, you are Texas, you fired your coach, who are you going to go get? You're going to go get Kirby Smart if you can. Like, that's the guy you would take over anybody.
But
and
you can't, sadly.
No, you can't. He's a Georgia lifer. Like, that's something that, like, I can't believe just came out of my mouth. But it's true. He's the standard right now. And until somebody takes that from him, he's going to continue to be.
Yeah, and it's so funny that the goalposts move. We talk about how everybody's moving the goalposts. Now it's, Georgia just Clemson. They got one championship in the 80s and two now. Y'all just keep going. You keep going. Eventually, you're going to run out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we talked Dylan Raiola a little bit. Like, when you win back-to-back, like, people want to get on this train. Arguably, too, I would say probably the best 2-year stretch in college football history. Like, no way somebody's went 29-1 in back-to-back years, right?
It's so hard. I think it's also ridiculous how they do the.
No, there's no way.
the modern era of college football, and they start in like the 1930s. I'm like, dude, half like in the 40s, like half of those rosters were off fighting like in the Nazis. Like,
yeah,
they were fighting in World War II. I don't want to hear about those Minnesota going back to back in 1939.
By the way, 1941.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think there's just such a giant gap between us and our rivals right now that it's honestly tough to see how that closes in anytime soon. And when I say our rival, I'm not including Bama. Like, we keep kicking them in the teeth and harping on them. Like, they're just as talented as we are, but they underachieved this year. And they could easily be back next year because they got the talent to do it. But I'm talking like Tennessee, Florida, Auburn. A lot of those schools feel like they're on the rise, and you've been rising for like 10 years now. So, like, is there ever a peak? Like, for Tennessee, I think this was their peak this year. They had all the beams just lined up as straight as they're going to be, and they blew it. So I really don't know like what the future holds. Like, we do look at our schedule next year and think it's like the prediction is going to be the win total is going to be set at 11 for Georgia. It's going to be set at 11.
Yeah,
and it just you have to take. I don't know how you can take under. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, dude. And does anything else really need to be said there? For anyone not watching, I held up the 3 because, you know, back to back to back. It's not crazy. Like, it's doable.
People crawled us crazy for in the offseason. We're talking about how elite our offense was going to be and this, that, and another. And like the people that just like Ellie Duncan, she doesn't deserve to be like a face of a Georgia fan for what she said about Stetson Bennett.
I saw that video today on Twitter, and
disgusting stuff.
That made me want to puke.
Yeah, disgusting stuff. Like, you can have an opinion. I'm not saying you can have if you have a wrong opinion that you're not allowed to celebrate. We've had plenty. She
sucks anyways. She's so corny.
She compared Stetson to her child, like compared it to her child spelling the word mom.
When you're that disrespectful to someone on your team that just won a national championship, that's when you've crossed the line. Now that was just straight disrespect.
This was before the Oregon game.
Yes.
That was what was so crazy to me. Like, that was really, I'm like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, actually.
That was just straight up personal disrespect. Like, that stuff. That's the kind of stuff that pisses me off. You can have your opinion about Stetson Bennett. Hey, I've changed my tune on Stetson. Like, it's okay to change, but like, I was never that disrespectful about it. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, for real.
But there's going to be a lot of talk this offseason, and quite frankly, like we talked about earlier, I don't know what you can hang your hat on if you're not a Georgia fan at this point. All you can do is just try to come get us. That's all you can do.
I mean, you can say whatever you want to me, but at the end of the day, I don't really care what you have to say because there's nothing you can do about it. Like, we are the best. We don't lose right now. I mean, you can keep making yourself like look stupid and like keep coming at us and saying that we're wrong and we look stupid. But at the end of the day, I mean, come on.
And what it is like, because Kirby clearly convinced his team they were doubted this year, and he convinced them they were doubted to an extent that I don't think they were.
Yeah,
like they were absolutely
raging about that too.
They were absolutely doubted about they were lost way too many guys, which like was fair. Like, it was a fair assessment by a lot of people. Like, they've lost so many people. How could they possibly replace all these guys? Well, it turns out we didn't have to replace them. We just had really good players coming up, ready, next man up. We weren't replacing anyone. We were just reloading.
Well, and there's one position that we didn't have to replace, and no one took that into account. I don't understand.
That's what pissed me off. Like, think about the national champions for the past 20 years, and think about it. If they won the championship and returned their quarterback, would they be ranked preseason number 1? And the answer is a resounding yes. 100% yes. When Florida State won the Natty and they came back the next year, they were preseason number 1 with Jameis Winston. if like that's
Florida.
like Bryce Young, they were number 2 and came back number 1. So that's because of Bryce Young returning. And guess who was number 2? Ohio State with C.J. Stroud because they returned their quarterback. But for some reason, we returned a little old Stetson Bennett. So we're not number 1 anymore. But that was the real disrespect. That was the real doubt. Like, and Kirby took that and ran with it. My question to y'all is like, what's going to be the motivation this offseason? What's he going to convince the team this offseason to get them?
I love it. I love that he said after the game, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, I want these guys to feel like they eat off the floor here or something like that. I absolutely love that quote. And I think at a certain point, we talk about everybody saying, oh, y'all said we were going to go 6-6, 7-5. And I think they were actually just messing with people at a certain point. I think they were really just getting people riled up on purpose just because they know people would be so mad that they said that.
We're going to talk a lot about the landscape of next year. And I don't want to get in that much. But Reading the Fly says Beck, 1 and done. Gunner, 1 and done. Dylan Raiola, 2 and done. Juju, 3 and done. Nothing on earth ever goes that perfect. But my God, that sounds awesome.
That would be awesome.
That sounds like the perfect plan. That.
Hey, listen,
we want to do some roster breakdown next year. We are going to have some guys in the portal. I'm not going to sit here and speak on other people's business. It's fine. I don't have any hard feelings for any of them. I'm glad they stayed for the Natty. So, hey, congratulations, guys. Best of luck. We're going to have some guys in the portal. So we'll let that get settled. We'll get everything kind of figured out, and then we'll start breaking down roster and stuff. But we can start doing a couple things like quarterback. We know what it's going to look like. But yeah,
I know we've jumped on Jermaine Burton a lot, but what do you think he was thinking watching that game? I mean, every receiver ate, and he could have been a part of it, but he moved on. What do you think goes through his mind like that?
Griffin, I'll be honest with you, I don't care.
True.
I don't care what that guy was thinking.
True.
I don't care. But I mean, God, and the preseason interview where he was on that podcast and. What do you rate? What would you be rated if the NCAA game come out? He's like, on Georgia or on Bama? Dude, what do you think they're doing over there? Putting you in some machine and cranking you out to be Jamison Williams? God,
clearly not.
That stuff pisses me off.
All right, guys, by the way, one thing too I wanted to plug. We are selling these limited edition national championship football. We are not selling them, but I'm partnered with somebody selling them. It's pinned on my on Twitter. It's on the Baxter Street Boys page. Use my code, you get a discount.
They are sick.
That's all I got on it. They are sick. Cole, you bought one last year.
I got one last year. Yeah, it's awesome. I'll probably get one this year too. I got the man cave stocked up.
Yeah, I'm going to Athens this weekend, and I'm emptying the clip. I'm getting more stuff. I already went on Fanatics the night after. Me and Cole went on it together. We're just looking through stuff. We're like, dude, check my cart.
yeah. We had a cart full.
Oh my God. I like the newspapers. I ordered me a copy of the AJC. I think the red and black is running theirs tomorrow, so I'm going to go down and grab those too.
I need some of those newspapers.
Yeah, you gotta grab us a red and black if you can.
I will. I think they come out tomorrow. I'm not sure because I think that took them a couple of days last year, and I think they said they were out tomorrow. And if not, I mean, I think you can order theirs too, and they're not expensive. Last year, I just went down to the building down there, towards the end of Broad Street, and you just go in, and they're like $1 a piece or something, whatever.
Yes, the comments are right though. If you have not liked the video, please do. It's a celebration, guys. It's a celebration of the Natty. Just like the video. Comment on the video. Up. Hey, tell your friends about it. We're gonna be here all off season. That's what I want to tell you guys. Follow us on Twitter at Backstreet Boys. We've already talked about the TikToks and about to just surge this off season. So jump on that hot train while you can. But we're gonna have a lot planned this offseason. You guys have allowed us to do a lot this year.
Dawgs basketball,
it's been a lot of fun.
Dawgs baseball.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna cover basketball pretty heavily, but football's key. We're really well that. And we're gonna have wall-to-wall football stuff. We got some stuff in the works. We've been planning some stuff. We're gonna brainstorm, and we're gonna have a lot to get going. In the meantime, you should never lose an argument. Don't even get yourself involved in the petty stuff. Just stay back to back and move on. That's all they want to hear, and it's going to eat them alive, guys. And listen, if you ever need us, that's the tag right there on the screen at Backstreet Boys. Just tag us in, and we'll be there.
If you order a commemorative Natty football, I'll be ingratiated to you. I will enter one argument for you and absolutely destroy the person. That is my promise to you.
I'll come in, whatever. Yeah, like we love it. That's why I made the page. You guys are our soldiers, and we'll go to bat for y'all any day. Love you guys. What a time to be a dog. Enjoy every second of it. Have a great week. Back to back.